Before we start today's video, tomorrow is going to be an epic day. We are going to be premiering the Ocarina Paradox 3, sending ZakPak back. It's a short, almost like a short film. It's almost literally short film that Chris and I made while I was in Texas. We are premiering it tomorrow, and I am very, very excited. And there will be a chatter day afterwards where we can talk about it. So definitely make sure to stay tuned for that tomorrow. There'll be a whole premiere page up. Probably not by the time this video is out, but either way, definitely watch it. Hopefully you enjoy it. What is up, you guys? It is Zach, and welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be doing my quote-unquote harsh review of Mario Party Superstars. Now, first, I do want to say that I got this idea from Connor Condria, who did a video on his channel all about this. If you want to go check that out and check out his full thoughts, there will be a link down in the description down below for you to check out his video so you can see his ranking, and I'm basically going to do it in almost the same exact format that he did. There are a few notable changes that I will be making from his, the first of which being I'm not going to include the item minigames in my list of minigames that I'm ranking, just simply because of the fact that, you know, I don't really count them as full minigames. And when it comes to the items and the item prices and all that, I'm just going to be summing up the economy as a whole. So without any further ado, let's get into our first category. So, of course, one of the most important things about Mario Party Superstars is bringing back the best minigames in all of the series. So, I'm going to be showing some minigames in green that I really, really like, and then the ones in red I'm not really as big of a fan of. So, all these minigames that you're seeing here, all the ones in green, these are the minigames that I liked quite a bit, and they are the minigames that I rank pretty positively. Some of my favorites being TikTok Hop, Burn Style, Snow World, etc, etc. Here we have a list of the red minigames, the ones that I really don't care for all that much. And there's quite a few popular ones on here, I know. For example, Eats a Pizza. Everyone loves that minigame. I don't really see the appeal of it. Goal is another pretty popular one that I personally don't care for too much. And really, both of the Mario Party 8 minigames that they've chosen, I'm not really a huge fan of. So overall, these are the minigames that I'm not that big of a fan of. So overall, the minigames are going to get a grand total of 78 out of 100. Now we're going into the boards, and we are starting with Yoshi's Tropical Island. Now, Yoshi's Tropical Island has quite a few things going for it. Firstly, this is just a really fun board. It's very, very competitive, and it's one of those boards where you'll be yelling at each other if someone switches the side of, you know, the Bowser and Toadette thing, like where they swap. It gets really, really heated. And I'm a really big fan of the fact that they kept the Thwomp toll intact, and they even increased the maximum amount of coins that you can make for Thwomp. And of course, each side of the board has its benefits, with the left side of the board having the item shop, which makes it easier to get access to items, and then the right side having the boo and the chance time parts. But there are a few things that are hindering this board and keeping it back from being an absolutely amazing board. Personally, the inclusion of items with this board in particular, obviously given the fact that the original Mario Party did not have items, honestly kind of break this board in a few aspects. The first of which being the golden pipe. The whole point of the board is that you're supposed to have to switch from one side to the other whenever the Bowser gets swapped, and having the golden pipes be in this board kind of ruins that when all you have to do is buy a golden pipe and it doesn't really matter what side of the board it's on. And the custom dice block kind of ruins it as well. If the star is not on your side, you just need to have a custom dice block and just roll the number you need to get the star back on your side. The items just overall make the board a little less fun. It takes the fun out of it when you can literally either summon the star to your side at will with the custom block, or just go wherever the star happens to be with the golden pipe. Also, I'm not really a big fan of segmented boards in general. Now, this board is segmented into 2 parts rather than 4 like some other boards are, but I don't know, just having boards be segmented really just feels like you're playing on 2 smaller boards rather than one big cohesive board. That's just a personal gripe that I have, so it really shouldn't factor too much into my score, but it is something that I do feel nonetheless. So that's why I am giving Yoshi's Tropical Island a personal score of 3.5 out of 5. Next, let's talk about Peach's Birthday Cake. This is easily my least favorite board that they brought back for Mario Party Superstars. But first, let's talk about the positives of the board. I like the change that they made with the Piranha Plants being that they can now steal either coins or stars, meaning that you don't just have to take stars like in the original. If you don't have as many coins, you can just choose 5, and then the Piranha Plant will steal coins for you, which is pretty awesome. And also, this is a pretty competitive map overall, with, people getting to plant their strawberries to steal coins or stars. It's just overall pretty competitive. And there's quite a few good quality of life improvements, with a happening space that lets you skip over the flower lottery entirely, and there are just lots of really good quality of life improvements, but some of them aren't really that great, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Also, this board looks absolutely gorgeous, and it looks actually really delicious too. As someone who doesn't like chocolate, seeing all the non-chocolatey desserts represented here, beautiful. But I do think there are quite a few cons to this board. Firstly, I think they ruined the Bowser section. Now, one of the quality and life improvements they added was moving the flower lottery till after the star, meaning that you always will get the star, and if you get Bowser, you'll get a shortcut back to the star, but you'll have to run through Bowser first. Which conceptually isn't a bad idea. It gets you a shortcut back to the star, but you'll have to suffer a harsh penalty. The problem is, the penalty isn't harsh. Usually you'll lose about 20 coins, and with how this game throws coins at you, usually you'll always prefer to go the Bowser route over the other normal route because of the fact that everyone will have star steals planted along the path. So it makes people want to go the Bowser path more than not, and that kind of ruins the whole point of the Bowser path. Especially when you have chance time over there, you have a versus spot over there, there's quite a few decent things over there which makes you not want to go the regular path. So they really ruined that Bowser section. Also, the board still isn't amazing, right? It's just a linear board where the star stays in the same place, and that's not really a bad thing, conceptually, but with how it's done on this board, with it being really small, it's really not that great. And there's not really that much going on the board in terms of happening spaces. I mean, you could plant the strawberries, quote-unquote, being the piranha plants that'll steal stars, but other than that, there's really not that much amazing about the board. Which is why I am giving Peach's Birthday Cake an overall score of 2.5 out of 5. Next up is Horrorland from Mario Party 2. Now, here are the pros of this board, because there's quite a bit. This board is very faithful to the original, with some decent quality of life improvements. I like the way they rearranged the banks, particularly. I just like how they rearranged the board to make it work for modern gaming, and it's just really, really good overall. I also like that this board does not have golden pipes in the shop, mostly because I like it sometimes when you don't have that kind of free give-me on a board. Personally, I think it kind of makes it more competitive. Also, this board is very big, with a lot of different branching paths and a lot of different ways that you can navigate the board, whether you just want to go around, or pay a womp, or take the eyeball. There's just a lot of different ways to navigate this board, and I absolutely love it. Also, this board just has really, really good music, and the new remixes they made for this game, they're just really, really good. Also, as well as it being very competitive, it is also a very strategic board, especially with the King Boo at the top right, where you can save up your coins and use King Boo to steal stars from all of your opponents. There's just a lot of strategy involved in this board, and it is just really good. Alright, so let's talk about some of the negatives. There's quite a lot of lucky spaces on this board. The lucky spaces generally don't bother me as much as I originally thought they would, but this board has more of them, I mean, at least that I've noticed, than other boards. I feel like I land on lucky spaces all the time on Horrorland, which again, isn't a bad thing, but it bloats up the economy, and I don't know, it just kind of bleh. I just would prefer if there were less of them. Also, I guess there's no ketchup blood thing on the side of the board. I don't know. This board is almost perfect. It's hard to really find cons for this game. Actually, though, the arrows do kind of look like the ketchup blood. So I guess maybe that is there, unless that's paint. Either way, this board is awesome. I'm giving it a score of 4.5 out of 5. Next up is Spaceland. Now, I think this board is probably the most faithful to the original map, with some little differences, which I'll talk about later. It feels very much like the original, it functions very much like the original, so if you like this board in Mario Party 2, you are very much going to like it now. And I like that they kept the Bowser laser and that it steals all of your coins. There are things like that I was afraid they would take away because they would think it's too harsh, but I'm glad they kept it because that's just traditional Mario Party fashion. Also, kind of like with Horrorland, this is a very big board with lots of different branching paths, and again, lots of different ways to get to where you need to go. Whether it's using the skeleton keys to get to the middle faster, or just turning and going to the middle and choosing the direction you need to go, it's very easy to navigate the board unless you get trapped in a corner by the Sniffet police and the Womps in the cars. Speaking of which, here's where we get into some of the negatives. Now, these aren't really big negatives, but there are stuff I do want to point out. Now, they did change where the Sniffer Patrol sends you, the one thing they changed about this board, and I really don't like it. Basically what they do, when you call the Sniffer Patrol, they send you back even further than the Womp car would usually send you. But what they would usually do is they would put you on a different path. So it's taking you off the path entirely. But what it does here is it just sends you to the beginning of the path that you're on. So you don't really get a chance to escape, even if the Sniffer Patrol sends you all the way back. There's no real way to escape the Sniffit hate loop. If you go back, because in the original game, if you were stuck in a loop with the Thwomps, if someone got the Sniffer Patrol, that was your way out of it, basically. You'd get sent all the way back and be put on a different path that would either send you to the middle, if it's the Sniffer Patrol on the left, or it would send you, actually also to the middle if it's the Sniffer Patrol on the right. Another con, and again, this is a personal thing, but this isn't the most interesting board, in my personal opinion. I would have personally preferred Westernland or Bowserland over Spaceland. Horrorland is an obvious must, but I would have preferred Westernland or Bowserland over Spaceland, personally. Which is why I'm going to give Spaceland a score of 4 out of 5. Alright, now on to Woody Woods. Woody Woods is my personal favorite board of this entire game. Woody Woods is a simple and fun and really overhated board. People hate the fact that the direction changes each turn of the arrow, but I never really saw the problem in that. That just means you have to strategize your rolls more. If you want to low roll so that the arrow will be in your favor the next turn, you have to, either roll low using a custom dice or a cursed dice. You have to figure that out and think about your moves. And I really, really like that, and I don't get why people hate it personally. I'm also really glad that they kept the Woody and Mean Woody events of, the fruit falling from the trees, and you have to choose between either rolling again or rolling backwards, or getting or losing coins, depending on if you land on Woody or Mean Woody. And that one skeleton key door in the very beginning that used to come out towards the beginning instead of where it's in Superstars, going from the beginning into that one path, I like that they changed that. It's a really good quality of life improvement that gives you a reason to get those skeleton keys, because if you're going to the right, there's no real reason you'd want to come out through the beginning again, unless the arrow sent you that way and you didn't want to go that way. It's hard to explain because this map is kind of complicated to explain, but either way, I'm very happy that they changed the direction of the skeleton key door. And like I mentioned, with the arrows changing each turn, and with people manually being able to change arrows through landing on those happening spaces or talking to Monty Mole, it's a very strategic board, and I think it is a very fun board to play through, and it is also visually beautiful, with lots of different things going on in the environment. Just overall, a great board. Personally, I cannot think of anything negative to say about this board. I love this board. It's my favorite board, which is why I'm giving it a 5 out of 5. It is just perfect in my personal opinion. Alright, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the items and the economy. So starting with the items, just talking about the item selection that we have. If you want to know each and every single item we have, I'm not going to go too deep into it because I'm pretty sure everyone here knows the items that are in Mario Party Superstars. If you want a more in-depth look at that, definitely watch Connor's video. But I do generally like the items that we have here. They are pretty standard items, with some really cool new inclusions like the double star card. I like that they included those things because they're more interesting items that add to the gameplay. Overall, like I said, I think the items are very good overall, and I have no real complaints. Where I do have some complaints though is just the overall economy of the game. Some of the item prices, like the golden pipe and even the triple dice and the custom dice, they aren't really that bad. They are pretty fine. But I do wish the standard prices for some of these items were just a little bit higher, particularly items like the Chomp Call that moves the star. That, I guess, could be one flaw of Woody Woods, but that isn't really the fault of Woody Woods. It's the fact that this item is way too cheap, where people just stock up on Chomp Calls and use them anytime anyone gets near a star. It just really becomes a nuisance. I remember watching a stream that Ray Narvaez Jr. did, where he played Mario Party Superstars with a few friends, and I believe they were playing on Woody Woods, and for half of the game, no one got a star because everyone just kept buying the Chomp Calls. It just led to a very uneventful match. Chomp Calls should be upwards of 20 coins, 15, 20, 25 coins, somewhere around there. I also would like to see like skeleton key maybe be like 5 coins, double dice being like 7, you know, just little things like that just to make them a little more valuable, especially since coins are more frequently given to you, especially given the fact that you get coins for being second and third in minigames. Now, the lucky spaces didn't bother me as much as I thought they would, but like I said, on boards like Horrorland, they were just a little bit too abundant. People would just keep getting free coins and free items, which, you know, free items really isn't that bad of a thing. That's kind of a standard thing, at least with the GameCube Mario parties, when you pass over an item space. But I just wish the economy was balanced out just a little bit better, but it is not bad. It is nowhere near as bad as Super Mario Party's economy was. So that's why, overall, I'm going to give the items and economy category a 6 out of 10. Next up, I'm going to talk about the experience overall. What I kind of think of the overall Mario Party Superstars experience. And honestly, it's really good. It feels like ND Cube have finally figured out how to make a good Mario Party game, and they needed to do it by going back to what made the series great in the first place. Solid gameplay on the boards, an amazing selection of minigames, and just an overall simplified interface. Super Mario Party had this weird, complicated hub world kind of thing that I just really feel like slowed the, you know, just menu experience down. It was just completely unnecessary. I like that they went back to the Mushroom Village aspect like there was in Mario Party 1, and it's just overall really good. Some complaints I have are like the complaints I had on my review, where, you know, the online thing's kind of weird, where you have to back out to before the title screen to select if you want to play online or not. You can't just go to the friend house and say, oh, I want to play online. You have to actually like leave the whole entire game and then select online, which I think is really, really weird. And sometimes I feel like it could be a bit slow transitioning from one mode to the other, like, you know, because of loading screens and cutscenes and all that, they feel like they kind of jammed a lot into it. But overall, I think the experience is very solid, which is why I'm going to give the overall experience a score of 17.5 out of 20. So, calculating all those numbers in my big, ginormous brain, just kidding, I used the calculator, the overall total score for Mario Party Superstars is 7.8 out of 10. Now, this is interesting for me, given that in my official review of the game, I actually gave the game an 8.75, basically a whole point, more than a point more than this review, which is really, really interesting. I find this interesting because it really shows quite accurately how I feel. This is a good score, nearly 8 out of 10. That's a good score. But it does show that there are still some things I would love for ND Cube to refine in this game, being the interface, the online, which this was their first real tackle online, and they did it pretty well. I think some of it came down to the boards too, where Peach's Birthday Cake got a 2.5, and Yoshis Tropical Island got a 3.5. Minigames got a 78, which is about 4/5, you know, of the minigames are good, which is, you know, still pretty decent, but could have been better too. And of course, the economy probably set the score back as well. So there are little things in each category that probably set the score back. But I did think it was really, really interesting to look at this score and be like, wow, I gave it an 8.75 in my review, but now I'm giving it a 7.8. It's kind of weird. But what do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments down below. If you want to go the full mile and try to create your own scores and do your own math based on what 100 mini games are good and bad and all the boards and ranking all of them. If you want to go through all that math and let me know your scores down below, let me know. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All that stuff down below. Hit that little notification bell so that you're notified when I upload videos. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video.